Jonathan Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's a very good example of not having too much coffee before 9 a.m. in the morning. Mr. Speaker, but I do have to thank the previous member for giving me the platform to just lay out some information which I think he and New Zealanders will be interested to hear. The fourth Labour government, 1984 to 1990, saw power prices increase by 98.7%. The fourth National government, from 1990 to 1999, saw power prices increase by, yes, 47%. The fifth Labour government, from 1999 to 2008, saw power prices increase by 72%. The fifth National government, the government that is presently in the Treasury benches from 2008 to the present, has seen power prices increase by 16.2%. Sir, when the previous speaker criticises the Bradford reforms, this graph will show you exactly what's happened, because the Bradford reforms came in here where we see power prices actually decreased. Whoa. And then, of course, a Labour government came back into power, and all the reform powers came in that had come in were raised by what they say was economic development, but I would say was reckless spending. Reckless spending. And of course, members of the opposition are out there talking about their potential electricity reforms. And it was wonderful, I would say wonderful, because we had Professor Wolak in Wellington last week, and no doubt they are very much aware of the comments and reports that he has made. But in terms of the position that we have, I think, established through the Bradford reforms and then with the Brownlee reforms 2009 and 10, Professor Wolak said to a symposium here in Wellington, he said he can't see why New Zealand would want to turn its back on the electricity market structure it has now. Exactly. Now this is the man that backed up their policy, that they quoted, that they said was the one who described the price gouging of $4.3 billion coming out of consumers' pockets, which he refuted, of course. He said, I never gave that figure, but their policy made it look like that it came from him. And so anyway, we know that our electricity market structure does need continual work. The Electricity Authority is continuing to work on building an even more robust competitive structure to it, which is going to have the benefit of lowering prices to consumers regarding the electricity. But Professor Wolak certainly gave us a clear impression that we should not ditch what we've got, but continue to improve it. I have to say that I really love what Patrick Smelly said in the Stuff Business Desk, because he then talked about the Labour Greens single buy electricity policy, and he says it has a problem. While it remains politically resonant with voters who perceive power companies as rapacious and inescapable, the American academic whose analysis is a key plank of the Labour Greens New Zealand power proposal says the opposition parties have got it wrong. Really? Not only that, but Stanford University's Professor Frank Wolak, a top US electricity markets academic and a one-time regulator, says that despite repeated assertions to the contrary, he never concluded that power companies here had ripped off consumers to the tune of $4.3 billion over the mid-2000s. Unfortunately, that $4.3 billion figure has been the smoking gun fact around which the political argument for the policy has been built. So if I can paraphrase what he is saying, keep what you've got and ditch the shonky snake oil stuff that's being proposed. That was my paraphrase. I'm calling you shonky. So tell me, in terms of this government, I believe that has great momentum going forward. Who would you believe and who would you trust? Let's not listen to them. Who has the weight of credibility? It's national, it is not the Labour Greens. You won't hear them attack those energy policies with any credence, with any fact, with any sense of real depth of data and figures, they've lost the battle over energy. They really have. This government has got momentum. It has weightiness, it has gravitas, it has velocity. It's taking this country forward. We have policies that have traction. That is what is moving this country forward. Economic growth is the highest in 5 years, after going through the worst recession in 60 years, which everybody conveniently forgets. But we have seen the highest growth in 5 years, comparable to Australia and higher than almost every other developed country. Our economy is forecast to grow between 2 and 3% a year over the next 4 years. Wages are growing, Mr. Speaker. Cost of living increases have been modest, and interest rates are at 50-year lows.
Now, what does Dr. Clark have to say about that?
Very little. Can't hear what Dr. Clark has to say. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the cost of living data shows consumer prices rose by just 0.7% in the year to June. Phenomenal benefit and to the New Zealand consumer, that prices have been held at such a low rate. And during this point in time, over the last number of years, since 2008, household income has risen 20% in these last 4 years, and is expected to rise by almost 20% in the next 4 years. I would say, yes, we have our challenges. We're obviously aware of those, even those of recent times with Fonterra's issues, and we know that we've come through some very difficult times for this country, but we are a resilient people, and we are a people who are innovative and industrious, and we put our hand to the plough, we work hard, we come up with great ideas that give us competitive edge. And what this government is doing through all of its many innovative streams of support and funding and investment, sir, we are building on that great quality that New Zealanders have. We are, as a government, responsibly managing the government's books. When you understand that this government actually participates in the economy to the tune of about 30%, it's very important to understand that the way we manage the government accounts is incredibly important, not only to set an example, but also to improve efficiencies, stop wastage in this country, so that we can certainly get better value for money. We are building a more competitive and productive economy. We are delivering better public services. We are rebuilding Christchurch. We are building a stronger, more stable economy that can again weather global storms and deliver opportunities for New Zealanders. This is God's own country. It has been in the past and it will be in the future, where New Zealanders can grow up in this land and they can seize opportunities. They can be supported through an education system that ensures that they all succeed. 5 out of 5 are going to come through with a qualification in high school that's going to enable them to go on to tertiary and further learning, to gain skills and to gain employment. And the employment area, sir, is one of great importance. And it's good to see, sir, that more and more people are becoming employed here in New Zealand as this economy starts to deliver more and more for New Zealanders. So we are delivering progress and optimism. Yes, New Zealand households and businesses have faced some pretty challenging times in the past 5 years. And while these challenges remain, the economic recovery is gaining momentum, driven by low interest rates, investment and strong export prices. We are very thankful right now to have the likes of Honourable Tim Grosser at work hard for the benefit of New Zealand, a man of incredible capacity, great international linkages and relationships, and able to work through and carry us through in terms of some of the issues we are facing in this current time. Sir, I believe that this budget that's been presented by the Honourable Bill English is a great budget for New Zealand and is progressing this country into a better and a stronger state for the benefit of all. Thank you, sir.
Honourable David Cunliffe.